Justice League. Okay, everybody. Saw Justice League. I actually saw it Friday, but it's taken me a while to have time to sit down and actually talk about the movie. So let's just get into it. To put it simply, the first two acts of Justice League are awesome. They are awesome. I love the beginning and middle of this movie. The ending, just sort of there, which is disappointing to me. It's hugely disappointing to me as a fan of especially the Justice League. That being said, let's talk about it. Okay, so like I said, love the beginning of Justice League. It opens with this incredible sequence where we're essentially exploring the world without Superman now. And it's awesome. It pulled me right into the film. I was right in there with it. And the emotional weight of that sequence sold me on the film right there. And I was on board. And I'm just going to say it. The Zack Snyder parts of the movie are better than the Joss Whedon parts of the movie. They just are. Joss Whedon adds a sense of lightness and levity that undermines the narrative. Let's talk good points. The team itself is great. Everyone on the team is great. Aquaman, loved Jason Momoa as Aquaman, loved Barry Allen as the Flash. A couple of the best scenes in the movie are literally Barry Allen just talking to his dad in prison. Because anyone who's familiar with the Flash's TV show will be familiar with what's going on with the Flash in the movie. So that's actually kind of good. That kind of helps. That'll help audiences buy into the Flash. Cyborg, they hide a lot of what's going on with Cyborg because he's actually integral to the plot from the trailer. Wonder Woman, doing a fantastic job as always. Gal Gadot, just killing it. See how much I can talk about without getting into spoilers. Because here's the thing, is that the major parts of the movie's actual plot are pretty big spoilers as to what the movie's about. In fact, having seen the movie and having seen the trailers, it's pretty obvious some of the things the trailer was trying to conceal about the overall story of the movie. For example, Cyborg's connection to the mother boxes, and what the movie's actually about. Because the movie hides what it's actually about. And we'll get in. I may bring that up before I get into the spoilers. But the team is great. Absolutely phenomenal. A lot of the atmosphere and the character work in the first two acts of the film, awesome. Really, it worked for me. Let's talk about what doesn't work so well. First of all, going into the movie, I had one major concern. Was that I had found out that Warner Brothers had insisted the movie had to be 2 hours or less long. To which I have only this to say, Warner Brothers, what the fuck? It's like you learned all the wrong lessons. Length was never the problem with your previous movies. In fact, it was the opposite. Batman vs. Superman suffered because you cut out of it. You cut important shit out of the theatrical release of Batman vs. Superman. The ultimate cut of Batman vs. Superman is better, and it's longer. The length is not the problem, Warner Brothers. This movie would definitely have benefited from being 10, maybe even 30 minutes longer to really get in all the character and build up stuff, and maybe even some of the tension you lose in the third act. Same thing with Suicide Squad. Even though nothing of serious importance to the story was added back into the extended cut of Suicide Squad, the extended cut's still better than the theatrical version because the 11 minutes you added back into it fixed the pacing. Shorter isn't better in this situation. You can't keep taking longer films and shortening them. It does not do anything good. Unless you're dealing with a film that has a ton of flack that isn't needed in the film, don't do that. Stop it. The next time a director comes to you with a film and says, oh, it's going to be like 2.5 hours long, just say, we'll assume there's a reason it needs to be 2.5 hours long, and stop fucking with it. I cannot emphasize this enough, Warner Brothers. This is the mistake you keep making, is that you think you can cut major parts out of films. No. Sometimes movies are longer. Deal with it. The audience will. The Lord of the Rings movies made over $1 billion. Like, stop worrying about movies being too long. I guarantee it's not what's wrong with them. If anything, sometimes movies need more time. So Warner Brothers, stop that. Just stop cutting up these movies. Stop delivering mutilated masterpieces. Because that's what you give me. You give me movies that should be incredible, except you chopped them up a little bit. I still love the DCU. I love the DC extended universe. I love a lot of what the directors have done with it. That being said, you take those scissors out of your pocket, put them on the table, leave them there. In fact, glue them to the table, never touch them again. Stop cutting these films down. Stop it. Okay, now that I've got that out of my system, I'm serious though. There's a lot in the trailers that's not in the final cut of the movie. And I'm tired of that. I'm tired of important things being cut out of the films in general. Sometimes they need that. Sorry, I'll let that go for right now. Let's talk some more about it. Let's talk about Steppenwolf. Now, going into the film, I had actually just finished reading Jack Kirby's Fourth World, which is Steppenwolf is from. So, going into the movie, I was preloaded for Steppenwolf. I was ready for Steppenwolf. I wasn't worried about so I never had a problem with Steppenwolf through the film. But I had an unfair advantage. In my mind, I already knew everything I needed to know about his character to be invested in him. The movie doesn't necessarily sell that to an audience who doesn't know who Steppenwolf is. Which is problematic. And maybe if the film had been longer, I don't know what scenes were cut, but maybe if the film had included more to develop Steppenwolf, he could have been stronger. That being said, it's a little bizarre that he ends up a little bit weaker at the end, because his intro is awesome. Literally, there's a fight scene between him and an Amazon army, and it is the bomb. Like, it is insanely. It's one of the best parts of the movie. There are several really awesome action sequences, and Steppenwolf's intro is one of them, where he just takes on an army of Amazons who are desperately trying to get the Mother Box away from him. And it's an awesome sequence. Just really good. Now, just a couple things on that. First of all, as a comic book fan, someone who's read the comic books, I do feel it necessary to point out the fact that in the comic books, Steppenwolf is only 6 foot tall. So I don't know why he's so goddamn giant in this movie. Well, actually, that's not true. I do know why he's so goddamn giant. We'll talk about that in a second. But I do feel it necessary to point in the comics, he's only 6 foot tall. Also in the comic books, Steppenwolf is... Oh, I'm sorry. Also in the comic books... Well, here's the thing. The movie does not do a stellar job of explaining what mother boxes are. Mother boxes are supercomputers. Mother boxes are essentially supercomputers from the planet New Genesis, which are still used by both New Genesis and Apocalypse, which are the planets that the new gods inhabit, which is where Steppenwolf's from. The film does not really go into this or explain Steppenwolf's background as being from the new gods or the planet Apocalypse very well, which is a shame because there's enough tie-in for it in Batman vs. Superman that they really should have. So it's a little, they could have done a lot more of explaining this. Now, in fairness, most of the characters who talk about the mother boxes in the movie are not necessarily characters who would actually know what mother boxes are, would have a limited perception of exactly what mother boxes are for. I feel it's worth noting that in the comic books, mother boxes actually come in a multitude of shapes and sizes. Mr. Miracle actually has a mother box that he has in the shoulder pad of his suit, and then another mother box that is literally circuitry in the face of his mask. So mother boxes come in all shapes and forms. The mother boxes in this resemble more like the mother box that is represented in the Forever People, which is another comic book by Jack Kirby that is connected to the Fourth World series. It looks more like their mother box, although a little bit more square and less rectangle. Side note, this month, 2 superhero properties came out that were based on Jack Kirby's work, and Thor Ragnarok and Steppenwolf in the Justice League movie. And knowing the way that Marvel and DC operate, if Jack Kirby were alive, he probably would have gotten more money from Justice League. Marvel is super terrible to its creators, or at least they were. I don't know how they are now, but they treated Jack Kirby very poorly. And actually a bunch of other artists, which is how Image got started. But that's another story for another time. Back to Justice League. Like I said, I really liked the first 2 acts. The third act is there, and it's enjoyable. But here's the thing. The first 2 acts have weight. They have weight to them. The third act does not. The third act has a lightness to it that diffuses any tension that the movie would have. Which is a shame, because that's sort of something that helps you have that epic climax at the end of the movie, which is important for these types of movies. I guess what I'm saying is the Justice League is literally the best parts of a DC movie combined with the worst parts of a Marvel movie. It starts out with this great tone and this great, cinematic weight to it, and the characters are phenomenal. But as the movie goes on, there's just a ton of cheesy jokes, especially in the last act. And there's just a ton of cheesy jokes. And a whole bunch of, and the villain just loses his steam by the end of the film and just isn't where he needs to be. In fact, it's actually a dramatic difference between our intro for Steppenwolf, which is awesome, to our climax with Steppenwolf, which is significantly less impressive. Which is weird that that would happen. There's not a lot more I can say about the movie without getting into some ridiculous spoilers. So here I'm just going to say it. I liked Justice League. I liked it a lot. It is not my favorite DCEU movie, which disappoints me. I give Justice League an 8. If you're a fan of Justice League, you absolutely have to see it. If you're a fan of the Justice League, definitely go see it. It delivers on that level. Fans of the comic books are going to enjoy this movie. It works. I can't recommend it as highly as I want to, just because that third act just is not as strong as the first 2 acts. And it's clear that important material has been cut out of the movie. Warner Brothers, stop doing that. Sorry, I'll let that go now. I'm sorry. I feel like they'd be doing better right now if they'd realize that was their mistake. That's the problem. That they think they need to cut the shit out of these movies. And they don't. So I give it an 8. I definitely recommend checking it out. It's fun. It's action-packed. if you are a fan of the characters or the DCU or the Justice League comic book in general, you absolutely have to check it out. If your complaint about the DC universe is that it has been too dark and edgy, congratulations. This is finally a DCEU movie that is for you. It's got tons of jokes and an ending, and the last act is so light it almost floats off the screen. So if you were afraid of it being gritty and heavy, congratulations. That lasts like 40 minutes, and then it gets progressively lighter from that point. So I give it an 8. Please like, subscribe, share, comment. Let's talk. Now I'm going to go into spoilers. So 3, 2, 1, spoilers. The thing I was not prepared for this movie is how weird it was actually going to be. Because the main plot is actually weird. Steppenwolf is not the point of the film. He's really not. Because that's not what Zack Snyder's vision is about. Because Zack Snyder's vision is this extended arc that is all about Christianity. What? No. Yes. That is exactly what the Zack Snyder arc is about. Man of Steel is birth and life of Jesus Christ, aka Superman. Batman vs. Superman is a combination of the death of Christ combined with moral complications. The point of Lex Luthor is that he's the ultimate atheist. That's the point of his character. And then we move on to Justice League, where Batman forms Christianity. The Justice League. Because that's the idea behind it, is that they're going to use Superman's sacrifice to create the Justice League. In other words, they're going to use Jesus' sacrifice to create Christianity. And that's the metaphor. That's what these movies are about. For the people who didn't like them and were confused about what was happening, that's why you were confused. It's because that's what they're about. That is the overarching metaphor throughout the entire series. Which is why it's so weird that the major plot to Justice League, like the key moments of the film and plot, is that this is actually about Batman trying to resurrect Superman. Like, literally bring him back from the dead. In fact, there's a whole portion in the middle where it's just people debating whether that's a terrible idea to do. But they do, and they bring him back. And actually, I thought the resurrection scene was pretty cool. And the fight scene, Superman comes back and he's out of it, and the last thing he remembers is Superman. And the last thing he remembers before he died was Batman trying to kill him. So the Justice League has to fight him, and that sequence is actually pretty cool. And it makes sense. Like, he doesn't know them, and it's not explained why Cyborg's armor malfunctions and shoots at him, but it does. So that's what the movie's actually about. Steppenwolf is just there to be a threat. He's a plot device. He is there for them to have someone to fight, which is why they could have probably done a little bit better for him. But I understand why this happened. It's because he's more there just to represent the devil and the Antichrist, and for Superman to come back and beat the shit out of him. Here's the problem. Here's really the problem with the third act. The third act, Superman is too powerful. And he shouldn't actually be that much more powerful than a new god. Steppenwolf should be strong enough to get some really good hits on Superman. He should be that powerful. But essentially Superman is the secret weapon. In fact, the movie actually pretty much acknowledges that Superman is the secret weapon, and pretty much all he has to do is show up and save the day. And that's what happens. They resurrect Superman. Superman has a period to adjust where the rest of the Justice League is trying to take on Steppenwolf. Superman shows up at the end, kicks Steppenwolf's ass. They kick Steppenwolf's ass as a team, but Steppenwolf noticeably does not stand a chance against all of them. once they operate as a team and Superman is there. So that's part of the problem with the third act is the Steppenwolf just never seems like a threat to Superman. Just a couple of spoilers I forgot to mention. Part of Steppenwolf's intro features Green Lanterns. In fact, actually, sadly, we do not see the official Green Lanterns in this film. We actually see like 2 or 3 Green Lanterns die fighting Steppenwolf in the final in his intro, which is actually pretty badass. I've heard the rumors that there were some other superheroes who appeared in that sequence as well. I'd have to watch it again to be sure, or look at the spoilers video, I guess. An Easter egg video, I guess. So that's the thing about it, is that third act happens, and a lot of critics have actually expressed the fact that they're happy about this, and maybe I should have mentioned in the non-spoiler section. A number of critics have commented on the fact that this movie finally got Superman right. What they mean by that is Superman's now cheesy as fuck. I didn't care for that. I'll be straight up. Superman's dialogue in the third act of this film, after he goes back to life, is so goddamn cheesy, and it's so like it's like they took deleted scenes from the Richard Donner films. And don't get me wrong, the Richard Donner films are great, but the Richard Donner films are also over 2 decades old. They're old as fuck. They're outdated. Have you seen the Richard Donner films recently? They're good movies, but they are outdated. They are poorly aged. They do not hold up as much as you might like them to. Especially Superman 2, which is super cheesy, even in the Donner cut. Donner cut's still better than the theatrical cut, but that's besides the point. My point is, Superman's cheesy. Superman cheesy as fuck in this movie. And I may be in the minority here, but god damn it. Just god damn it. Why you gotta be so cheesy, Superman? I liked Man of Steel a lot, and I liked Henry Cavill in the extended cut of Batman vs. Superman, where he actually has goddamn things that happen. I liked him in those. I thought he did really well in them. In this movie, he's so goddamn cheesy. And I know it's not Henry Cavill, it's the script. It's just, I'm in the minority here. I didn't need Superman to be cheesier, but he's way cheesier. And I didn't need, and some of the jokes, especially in the third act, there's jokes throughout, but some of the jokes in the third act especially, just really cheesy. Just really, really cheesy lines. And I didn't need that. I know you wrote that part, Zach. I know you wrote that part, Joss Whedon. I know you did. Some of those lines, I was like, that's a fucking Joss Whedon line. And I like Joss Whedon all right. I'm not his biggest fan or anything, but I'll be real. I dug what Snyder was doing more. I did. What Joss Whedon brings to the film is camp. It loses the weight. It loses any cinematic, like, there's nothing there for me to grab onto and chew into. Joss Whedon just doesn't bring that. He brings funny lines. That's it. That is it. That being said, honestly, I enjoyed it. I did. And I'll even recommend it. I've gone back and forth on it a lot, because there's a part of me that would like to sit here and go, Justice League is a 9, or Justice League is a 10, or Justice League is at least my favorite movie in the DCEU. It's not. I honestly, Wonder Woman is better. The extended cut of Batman vs. Superman, Man of Steel, I like both of those better. I had more fun at Suicide Squad. I even enjoy I even love Suicide Squad more. That being said, I still like it. It's still good. There's parts of it I even love. There's some great moments where I'm like, God damn it, that's beautiful to me as a comic book fan. But like, while everyone else is saying this is a step in the right direction, I honestly feel like the opposite. I felt like I liked the DCU EU better before we decided that Superman was going to be cheesy as fuck. Like, I don't need the DCU to look like Marvel movies. Marvel movies look like Marvel movies. And they're honestly, the more of them that come out, the more Marvel movies start to look the same. Except for Thor Ragnarok, which is too fucking stupid and weird. In a good way, it's stupid. In a good way, it's stupid and weird. I mean, it's yeah. But like, there's a part of me that just would like to be able to sit here and say it's a 9 or a 10, but it's an 8. Still good. Still got parts I love. I am psyched for that Aquaman movie. I genuinely, I am ready for that Aquaman movie. I'm excited for Wonder Woman 2. They better fire Brett Ratner so they can keep him. Gal Gadot. That's all I'm saying. They better. I'm excited about. Yeah, I've forgotten the name of the guy who did Planet of the Apes, but I'm excited about his Batman because these Planet of the Apes movies are fantastic. So I'm still excited about some of the DCU movies that are coming out. So I hope it continues. And I hope Zack Snyder ends up. I'm sorry, not Zack Snyder. I hope Joss Whedon does end up doing the Batgirl movie. I just hope it's not cheesy as fuck. Seriously. Joss, if you could. Just a little heavier, Joss. Just a little bit heavier. Life's not just a joke. Just a little bit of weight. Do that for me. That'd be great. Thank you, Joss. I still love Age of Ultron, Joss Whedon. I'm one of the few people who does. So yeah. So that's my views on the Justice League movie. I'm going to make a longer video about Steppenwolf the next couple of days, hopefully, if I'm not a lazy piece of shit. All about Steppenwolf and how he was stolen from Suicide Squad and how that was one of the things that fucked up the DCU. All right. So yes. Please like, subscribe, comment, share. Check out Justice League. Yeah, have a great day.